When I came to Thailand 10 years ago, the price on rice husk was 250 Thai baht per ton. Today it's 10 times higher, and that's the market mechanisms. What we saw in Denmark when we started, it started with a ban on field burning. It was no longer allowed to burn the wheat and barley straw in the fields. And then the farmers said, oh, what to do? We cannot, we have problems. We need to burn it. They started to flow it down into the field. And then you had anaerobic conditions in the field, and you killed the crop the next year because of the anaerobic conditions. Then they started to remove it completely and found the soil became hard like stone. And then we found a balance. About 1/3 of the biomass could go back in the field and act as structural material, giving aerobic conditions in the soil. And we had a similar thing with the price on the straw. It came up and down and up and down, but now it's been leveled. And what I've been trying to do in Thailand is to avoid competition. When I said, why don't we use some of the rice straw? And people said, it's used as bedding for the buffaloes. We cannot take it, then we start competing. And the farmers will have problems with enough straw for the buffaloes. But now buffaloes are getting less and tractors are getting more and more. So there's affordable rice straw available now in Thailand. One of the fuels I was looking at was the empty fruit bunch. Empty fruit bunch has been a problem, how to get rid of it. So we're looking into it as a very cheap fuel and how to overcome the problems with clinker ash, high potassium. So your questions are very relevant, and we have been discussing, Mr. Amar and I have been discussing how to do in Pakistan. Can we make mapping of the biomass resources and the use of the biomass? What I've seen so far is the rice husk, I've seen corn cobs, but what about corn stalk? The wheat straw, yes, okay, it's got a high value for paper. The bagasse, you're telling me it can be used also for paper. Yeah, okay. I've been doing some work in the Philippines, and in the Philippines the sugar mills tell me we don't have enough bagasse for the sugar mills. Then when I see the efficiency of the systems, I can understand why they don't have enough bagasse. But they're importing palm shell from Malaysia to cover the deficit, because the palm shells are still cheaper than coal. And here it will be a competition between local coal and different types of biomass. But I think it's a very good idea to have the resources mapped and see what are they used for. And then we can say, okay, these are the alternatives or the opportunities. We have coal, and then we have these types of biomass. And then, based on experience and electronic combustion control, then you can design appropriate boilers where you say, we target a specific fuel with this boiler design, but at the same time we accept that we can have to burn other types of fuel, but perhaps with slightly reduced boiler capacity or slightly reduced efficiency on the boiler.
If there is no any further question, so this presentation was to set the agenda for the upcoming session. This was more sort of a generic presentation regarding different features of a better designed biomass boiler. In the upcoming session, it would be more hands-on, and we will be going to discuss how to design these different features of furnace and ash handling system, etc., during the rest of the day. So So it's time for it to have a cup of tea. Please help yourself, and let's meet in 15 minutes. Thank you. Let's resume where we left.
Presented to this video here from YouTube showing the operation of a step grade. Here the fuel feeding, and here we have the step grade, and different type of fuel feeding. And what we saw the other one, this type of fuel feeding is quite common on many boilers in the palm oil industry, where you have supply of air, so you're part of blowing, carrying the biomass fuel into the boiler by this setup. Here you can see schematically here, we have the biomass coming in and it's drying, and then we have volatiles evaporating and the gases are burning, and then later down it's the carbon burning. Here the step grade, the hydraulic system, you see it's only every second bar that's moving, the other ones are fixed. Then here ash removal. This of course only the bottom ash. The drying, evaporation of volatiles, burning of volatiles, and then burning of carbon at the end of the grade. Okay. Back to the training.
This video is available on the YouTube, and you can search it by Intech Energy. It's a supplier of the Intech from the Denmark. You can check it from the YouTube also.
This one, we've seen it already at the presentation. But when we start talking about designing boilers, then the fuel is the very first thing we have to look at. Content of carbon, content of hydrogen, the lower calorific value. In German literature, they're normally always talking about lower calorific value because that's what we've got to, that's what we can use, that's what we've got. The higher calorific value, okay, I have been designing systems where we have condensed the flue gas. That means when we talk about lower calorific value, then all the water generated by the combustion, when you burn hydrogen, oxidize it with water, or oxidize it, then you get water. And this water will be in the form of vapor. When you condense it, then the condensing heat is also recovered. And then the water you have in the fuel, the moisture content is also condensed. So that means when you burn it, you evaporate water and you generate water. And if you condense this water, then you can utilize the full heat from the higher calorific value. But this is not common. This is rather uncommon. But it's costly, it costs a lot of money. And normally it's not feasible.
Excuse me. Our middle fuel here used to be natural gas, methane.
Yes?
In that case, it comes locked because for one molecule of carbon you have 4 of hydrogen. So 16 kg of the methane produces about 36 kg of water.
Mm.
There you have to be very careful about the lower heating value and high heating value. And I think there's about 10% difference in lower and high heating values.
I made a cogeneration plant with I think 1.3 megawatt electrical power using natural gas in Denmark, and we condensed the flue gas from the gas engines. I took over the project. I didn't make the initial design because I would have made it slightly different. But what happened was we cooled down the flue gas below the condensation temperature. I think we were down in about 60 to 80 centigrade hot flue gas. And what happened was during winter time, when the hot flue gas came out of the chimney and we had minus, then all the water, the aerosols in the water came down as ice, so the whole area around the chimney and the cogeneration plant, we could go skating there. And something else that happened is when you have hot flue gas, or not, when you have flue gas, it's carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is acidic. And if it's raining down in an area, it will start eating the calcium in the cement around the building. So what I could see was the foundation of the chimney started